have a weird hobby.
Go ahead.
I love making lists.
Lists?
Oh,
Community is a solution, but what is your solution trying to solve? SWOT analysis is usually done for companies. So I was like, why don't I use the SWOT analysis on myself? I would like to contradict myself if that's okay.
yeah, of course.
No, you cannot contradict yourself. How can you do this on a podcast? Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Passion Project Japan. I'm Theo,
And I'm Gia.
and today we have a very special guest, Annie. Yes.
So Annie is a very young, talented designer, educator, and a career coach based in Japan.
Yeah, she's been working for one of the biggest tech companies in Japan for almost 4 years, first as a UI UX designer and now as an instructional designer, training hundreds of tech new grads on their creative and design thinking skills.
Yes, and she's also been coaching hundreds of other students on how to build their personal brands, tell their personal stories, and how to find their true selves.
Thank you for having me.
So Annie, we've known you for quite some time actually, and we know that you're doing a lot of things. So what is one project that you're working on recently that you're really passionate about?
Yeah, I'd say it's Creaba. So it's a education platform that I'm working with my teams of students and volunteers, and we provide transformative learning programs that help people find their confidence, their creative side in order to discover themselves and design the life and career that they want.
And how did you, or why did you decide to start this Creaba?
I actually, it's a really long story.
It's a podcast, we have all the time, just go. Let's go.
Yeah. So I've been in Japan for 7 years. I'm from Vietnam. And when I came to Japan, I was in southern of Japan in a city called Beppu, where nothing was there. Literally, it was just us students and the city and hot springs. So I was really confused about what I wanted to do, and I had to figure out what I want to do through a lot of testing. So I started with making my YouTube channel to talk about life in Japan as a student, and as a student, international students coming to Japan, what they can do and what are the options for them. So after I did it for around 3 years, I got a lot of students coming up and asking me through my videos, like, okay, I came into school and I only wanted to come here because it's Japan. I haven't really figured out what to do after I come here. So that's when I thought, yeah, people don't really know what they want to do, or they either have so many things they want to do, they don't know how to put things together and synthesize it nicely and have confidence that they can do things that they want to do. So I started to do career coaching for around 5 years. After I did my YouTube, I started going to universities to do speech. I started my online platform where students can book a session with me and ask about how to plan their career and how can they venture into a specific domain. Given that I was the first person in my community to get a job as a UX UI designer to work in tech, without the tech background, students were really inspired that, oh, maybe they can do something like that, even if they don't know where to start.
Wait, what do you study in university?
I studied marketing.
Okay,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah.
So totally not tech.
At all.
But you learn design, I guess, in the marketing degree? Or no, not at all?
No.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
more like strategic marketing. So I do like strategy and mission and marketing campaigns. But it's Southern Japan. Like, we still use cash cards to go to the bank. There's no app back then.
Yeah.
So tech was something really far away. So for like a girl from the countryside to make something happen with something that's no one's been done, I thought at the time I was the only one, the first person to do it. But I don't want to be the only one. So I wanted to help people around me to find their superpower and having that confidence and skills to pursue what they want. So that's how Creaba was born, to centralize my experience and skills, and also looking into the future of what are employable skills and personalities that young global talents need to thrive wherever they go. So Creaba stands for Creative Basho. So it's a creative space for creative people coming to find their creative confidence.
Wow. Very inspiring. I mean, honestly, I also didn't know what to do when I came to Japan, right? Like, I was just thinking that I came here for university and I will be here for 4 years. I'll have enough time. But even until after graduating, I am still trying to figure out my life, right? So in terms of that, let's say I am interested in joining one of your events or projects in Creaba, then what is one thing that I can do inside? Like, what is the event that I can join inside there?
Yes. So we have monthly workshops. We call them Creative Skills Workshop. And through these monthly workshops, we touch on different skills, whether it is technical skills like 3D design, but also soft skills like how can you introduce yourself in a way that's memorable and impactful. So you can definitely drop into our monthly workshop to, we call it Discover Your Superpowers.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. Whether it is a strength that you want to strengthen or it's a strength you didn't know that you have, you can come in and dip your toe in different fields before you have a sense of what you're good at and what you're not good at. Then you can take the next step, which is our longer programs to apply your knowledge and your assumptions and have like a real case project to apply what you learn into what you think that you can do.
I'm kind of curious though, because I think being young, like many of us, we don't have that clarity of what we want to do in our life in university. So I wonder how you were able to find that clarity like so early on. Is it some like life-changing experience that happened in university or in Vietnam that kind of give you this sense of like, oh, I know what to do and I know that I kind of want to teach people how to do this?
Yeah, I came here without knowing what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I just came because I wanted to put myself outside of the box. In Vietnam, I study in a very structured environment. There's always that belief that you need to pick a good school and whatever you study, you should do that. So if you study business, you should go to Big Four or consulting companies. And I couldn't do that. But I guess one life-changing experience for me was deciding where to go for study abroad. So I was volunteering for a research project between a university in Japan and Vietnam. So I was working as an interpreter and translator in high school. And that project was to help disabled children in Vietnam to have a Sunday class for them to come and mingle with their friends. And during that 3 years of volunteering, the professor told me something that really changed my perspective. It's like from the outside world, when you look at disabled children, you think that, oh, they can't really do a lot because they are disabled. But through our interaction with the children, we know that like from the children's perspective, they don't see themselves as disabled. They see themselves as people and children. So it's that perspective between changing perspective between I have limiting belief. I'm not good at this. I can't become who I want to be because I have these limitations. Into something, I am my own person, and as my own person, I want to try many things and have fun while doing it. So it was that interaction with the Japanese university that made me want to come to Japan, and putting myself in the world where I can be myself, and let's see where it takes me. So that was the milestone or like the life-changing moment for me. But I guess when I came to Japan, I just met a lot of cool people. My school was very international with students from 90 countries.
90 countries,
I think so. Like
that sounds pretty
quote me
rare
on
for
that.
Japanese universities.
Indeed.
Yeah, and this is in like the countryside of Japan.
Yeah.
So you have like the really young kids who are like completely lost, and you have like the elderly population.
Elderly population. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the PhD students.
No, like
or like really like the old
like
people.
elder people, like Japanese people. Like
Okay.
yeah, I would go to onsen and talk to like grandmas and grandpas in
Oh, so
their
cute.
70s, 80s, and it's like that collision between like the young and the elderly, and what kind of conversation happens in between. So I learned to have really good conversations with people from really different backgrounds, and little by little, they really shape my mindset about how I view the world and how I view myself, and where I can connect in between.
I kind of I can relate to any stories in terms of like exploring what you want to do, because I also have a lot of interests, hobbies. For example, I know that I really like fitness. For example, I like math. I like singing. I know I have a lot of hobbies, but I actually don't know what I should do with my career, right? So, but I remember joining a talk, or at least read an article, and they said that, I mean, it doesn't matter what you want to do, but what matters is you know how to kind of connect those dots into something more structured in a sense. I mean, for Theo also, you also have a lot of interests, right?
Yeah, I think it's like very bara. Yeah. But I think when I came into university, I kind of had an understanding of, I knew from the very start, and I think people can tell you this, even in the first year, I said I want to work like in the media industry in Japan. So that's because of my background in Singapore. I did mass communications. So like I had the idea. But then I talked to many students, and a lot of them, not sure exactly which field they want to go to. And I think the unique thing about like Japanese university as well is that you're not locked into your degree. For example, you can do chemistry and then jump to marketing. Like there's that kind of like freedom and flexibility, which is good and bad, because that makes it more like, oh wait, I can kind of go anywhere. So yeah, I wonder if, because I guess the people you talk to is both students from Japan but also from Vietnam. Do you see like differences in how they think about their careers based on where they are?
Yeah, it's really hard to generalize for everyone. But for example, for some people, Japan is like the stepping stone before they take the next step, like going back to their hometown to do their family business, or to take it as a first step for like going to master. And some just want to be here and have a good time, because they work really hard for 12 years. And now that they have the chance to physically step outside of what's known to them, they just want to have a good time. And it's not really common to have a good time when you're in K-12 education. For me, at least, my family never had expectation for me. So it's like reverse psychology.
Okay.
They don't expect me to do anything, so I should do a lot of things.
Well, that's true though. Same for my family as well. My parents didn't really have like, hey, you should be a financial analyst in the future, or you should be a lawyer in the future. But I know, for example, if there are some families who are, let's say, doctors, they probably want to guide their children to be doctors as well, right? So in that sense, I can really relate how I don't have a specific interest,
Yeah, but I think people know what they like, but not a lot of people think about what they don't like. Because you're being forced to do everything, so you never have the chance to like take a step back and reflect what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So when I studied marketing, I wanted to do something more creative, because in all of my business classes, I was always the one who would make the PowerPoint and talk about the creative side, and would always take a step further, like instead of a marketing plan, let's make a video and showcase it. So I realized that even in like a academic setting, there were things that I was more naturally inclined to doing, and I wanted to push it a bit further. So in my first year, I started to apply for internships. Not because I wanted to get a job, but because I want to kind of explore like what's going on in my head and how does that translate to the real world. So I took like a media internship, and from that internship, I realized that definitely there's this creative side of me, and I can execute things. But what else is there in between my marketing background and the things that I enjoy? So it's the strategy thinking and talking to people. When I was doing media, it was like behind the camera and editing YouTube videos. So for my next experiment, let's try to do something more strategy. So I applied to the creative agency. So that's where I got to meet Theo, because we were in the same company. So that's when I learned about advertising and how to pitch ideas to people. And slowly through each of the internships or experience I go through, I learned that there are things that I know I want to keep on doing, and there are things that it's good to know, but it's okay if someone else better than me can focus on it, so I can focus on the thing that really makes me special, like my superpower.
Yeah, like connecting the dots, I can definitely see that there is one creative side of yours. And looking at all your projects so far, I can really see that you're also trying to build creativity throughout and helping other people to find their creativity as well, right? And I also agree that everything is a learning curve, is a learning experience. So when I was back in Vietnam, when I was doing university there, I also get an internship in an insurance company.
Oh yeah.
And one of the goals there was to sell as much insurance as I can. And I was so stressed with the job, because I had to sell insurance, and I was not good at speaking or selling things at that point. And after that experience, I realized that, maybe I'm not a salesperson. I wanted to do something more structured, more systematic, more mathematical, or more creative when I start doing other things as well. So even if you find an activity that you don't like or you didn't really experience well, that can also be something that you learn, right? Yeah. So
I think Steve Jobs has a quote about that, right? You don't
Yeah.
in his like whatever speech he said, like, you don't know. Wait, sorry, I'm like messing up the quote, but I think he said something about like you only connect the dots in the future of like your past experiences. So for him, it was like the Japanese typography and like all the Zen stuff,
yes.
then incorporating that into Apple. And at that time, like Windows was like the predominant player, and they don't include like these nice fonts, right? But when he was like doing Apple, he made it like his experience learning about or geeking out about like Japanese typography and type of like calligraphy and stuff, like made him kind of like include that design aspect into Apple.
Yeah.
So sometimes your really random like past experiences or interests becomes, like,
Can
the
still be
fuel.
very helpful in the future.
Yeah.
I have a weird hobby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I love making lists.
Lists.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Like to-do lists?
No, food list.
Oh.
Okay.
Like my Google Map, I have a list for every cuisine, and wherever I go, I would bookmark it onto my Google Maps, so that, for example, I have like a list for Mexican food, but also like vegan food and Vietnamese food, and with all of the lists that I made, I can kind of see like in the world where I have been to in terms of food.
Oh, interesting. So like literally every country or place that you visit,
Yes.
you create a list for.
List for
Yes.
food.
Yeah, start with myself. Like I love food, and I don't want to go to the same restaurants every time. So I need to. Also, I have like goldfish memory, so it helps to write things down.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. Like after a year, you realize, I spent a lot of money going to these places. But also, I discovered really like hidden gems. Then I want to share with people. So from the act of like bookmarking and writing things down and putting it structuredly, while having the creativity of like visualizing the places I've been to, like leaving my footmarks everywhere. Translating it into what I do right now is like I help people to explore themselves, find what's unique about themselves, and really hone that narrative and that storytelling. However, in order to translate, how you feel to, for example, what employers want or what your investor wants, you need to speak like a language that both sides can understand. So having the structured to synthesize your messy creative thoughts into something more structured that everyone can understand is how I really like geeking up over one thing and trying to make an impact with what I think is like unique about me.
What is one of your weird
The weird
hobbies?
There's this game that I was obsessed with. I'm still kind of obsessed with. It's called Football Manager. And Football Manager, if you show any like normal person, they'll be like, "What are you playing?" Because it just looks like Excel sheets. Like it's so funny because I'm not like a math nerd or anything. I'm not like a geek. But I think like playing Football Manager helped me like train the analytical side and like the numbers, which doesn't come like very naturally to me. So now when I look at numbers, I'm not like terrified. Sorry, this is like completely random, but like from the business perspective, because I think I'm more like creative side a little bit more. So playing this game like trained me to do more of the math stuff. Yeah, and because I know some people, like creative people, they get very scared when they look at numbers. Yeah, so this kind of helped me do the flip side. So there's like just one really random thing that that helped me or trained me that I only can recognize it now, like going into full-time work. That wait, I'm not too scared to like make an estimate or like this kind of stuff. I feel like it's partly due to seeing big numbers on Football Manager and calculating it in my head.
Cool.
Random, sorry.
Yeah, I think one of my weird hobbies is kind of similar to Annie's.
Yeah.
I like cleaning.
Okay.
I really like cleaning. If there is a day that I see the house being really messy and I'm already really stressed, I would still prefer cleaning up the whole thing first. So applying that to like working environment, I would say that I really like doing things related to management. I like to manage a project. I like to, kind of like having things organized, or I will help the whole team to organize something. So I guess that's also one of my strengths.
Hey guys, did you know that we cut our interview into bite-sized chunks of content?
So if you want to go back to your favorite insights, please follow us on our social media at Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn at Passion Project JP.
Just now you mentioned like a word. You mentioned superpowers, like how you help people find their superpowers. So was there something that you read or like you took a course or something that allows you to, or framework that you refer to that lets you draw people's superpowers out of them that they don't even know they have?
Yeah, there are like a couple, but one is we also use it for like all of our Creaba program is design thinking. So in the design thinking process, there's like you need to, the first step before you want to come up with a meaningful solution, like people tend to think about the output, like the solution, what they want to make, what products they want to sell, but they tend to forget about who is it that they're trying to sell for, or what kind of problem they're trying to solve and what are the users in that problem are experiencing. So in the design thinking, you separate from the producer perspective and the user perspective, and you focus on the people who's consuming these information or products. So for me, the user is myself. So I kind of use design thinking on myself in order to understand what am I gonna solve the problem for. I need to know what's my problem first. And it starts with observing the world. I am quite introverted and reserved, but I love looking at people. I love looking at things around me, and I make lists. So I write things down about things I see, things I hear, things that's impressionable for me. And after I started to, visualize things out, write things down, I can slowly finding what's the connection between and starting to really define what makes me stick out, what makes me different from others. So specifically in my third year, I learned about the SWOT analysis, so strength, weakness, opportunity, threats, really popular in the business terminology. And the SWOT analysis is usually done for companies, like, how can they stand out compared to other similar competitors. So I was like, why don't I use the SWOT analysis on myself? I want to know how I am compared to like my peers. So I made the on a Excel or like a forms, and I asked my closest friend to fill out like, what do you think is my strength?
You did a 360 on yourself as a student. That is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, because at that time I didn't have any internship to apply my knowledge in school to work. So it's like, I'm gonna go to work eventually. So take myself as the example. So I took whatever I learned in class and applied to myself. And after I ran the survey to my closest friends, you can start to see like patterns. I thought people would see me like, I had some expectation of what people thought about me, but the way that they give the response back really blew my mind. Like people were start to say like very similar thing, but they express it differently. So people start to say like, oh, you're very creative, you're very curious, you're always asking questions, but you're also very organized. So start picking up keywords, and from that keywords, like for example, like curiosity, creativity, structured, imaginative. I started to put those keywords down, and literally like putting two things together and see, okay, curiosity and structured, what can come out of it? Creative and compassionate, what can come out of it? So you mentioned about connecting the dot. I do it like physically doing it and seeing it on the table. It kind of helps me to realize that, okay, this is what I think is my superpower, and people are vouching for me that this is also what they think I'm good at. So it's like double validation. So I feel more confident that I know this is what I'm good at, and people are saying that I'm good at it as well.
That's actually a very creative way to, improve yourself. I've never really thought of like having people doing my SWOT analysis, but actually, I mean, besides knowing your true self and have like a double validation, as you said, we can also take that as feedbacks. For example, you would know where your weaknesses are, or you can also know what kind of maybe fields or industries that you probably shouldn't go in, and when you cannot thrive. So I feel that I would want to do that.
Yeah.
In
So
near future.
the first step is to observe, define. After you observe the world, you kind of put like some definition, like a statement, or like a problem, the exact problem you want to solve, or even like an opportunity statement. But at this point, it's still like assumption, and maybe you have some first feedback. The next step is to really go into the world and test it out. That's why I started. Okay, people think I'm a marketing person, but I have creative side. So maybe let me try media, and that's why I started to brainstorm and prototype what I think is good, and I started to take internships in it, and I started to do personal passion projects. After you start to go out into the world and test it, you get more feedback as well. So from the experiments that you do, now is the time to reflect back on what works well, what has not worked well, and keep on iterating every time. Some people get it in the first try. For me, it took me like 4 years, 3 internships later, and now I'm at where I am right now. But I keep on brainstorming with what I think is my superpower now. What's the next step for me? And I'm always like out in the world experimenting with different careers and different projects. And I really enjoy the process as well. Yeah, whatever you do, like have confidence that it will lead you somewhere, and know that you don't really have to compromise between what you are good at versus what people expect you to do and be good at.
What do you think about the weaknesses and threats though? Like, should it be something that you are working on, or is it more like you focus on your strengths to try to mask those weaknesses? Or
That came to my mind when you talked about your football analogy. Probably you don't like math, but if you put like math with football, how do you feel about that? Probably, okay, I still probably don't like math, but I will give it a try because it's in a domain that I'm passionate about. So what's the things that I'm not good at? Either I put it in a different way. I like to make things fun. So I will, try to incorporate in a game, incorporate in my daily activity so that I can have a different perspective that it's not as bad as I think it is if it's in the domain of something I enjoy. And over time, I get to learn to love it. For example, right now, we are expanding Creaba to school. We want to bring our programs to high schools and university, which means I need to do my finance and my pitches. And I don't like doing my finance analysis, my balance statements, but I will do it because I believe in Creaba. And in order to, this is the step I need to do it. So if you're doing what you enjoy, you'll find ways to make it work.
Let's talk a bit about Creaba actually.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. So, I think starting a community is a buzzword, it's a key word, and many people look towards doing that. What do you think has been the biggest challenges in starting community, especially in Tokyo, if there is any? And advice for people, who might want to start their own communities?
Yeah. That's really hard.
Sorry, that's a loaded question. Many steps.
Yeah. I think, again, back to the design thinking process, like observe what does your community need? What do people need? And does it really have to be a community? Community is a solution, but what is your solution trying to solve? Probably the reason people start community is to foster a sense of belonging with like a specific topic that they want to evangelize for. So in order for people to have that sense of belonging or to achieve a certain goal that you want to establish for the community, try to work backward. Like in order for people to achieve X, what Y's do you need to do? If that makes sense. For Creaba, we have like a hybrid platform, because my why in starting Creaba was that when I was in southern Japan, like no one was there for me because everything was in the big city. So every resources and information is centralized in metropolitan city, and people outside of the big cities, they don't have access to resources, to quality education, but also to network. So when I established my community on Discord, we make sure everything is accessible to people not only in big city but outside of the city. So thinking backward about that, and we realized then we should have programs that are online more than offline. Or like we should start with talking to students in the cities outside of Tokyo. What is their needs? What do they want? What do they don't have? What do they don't know? And really start talking to people. And then eventually we realized that, they really need a space to connect with people outside of their community. So that's when we thought, okay, with these hypotheses that we have and 5-10 people we interviewed with, we're quite confident that if we start a community, we have the specific goal and the structure that we want to implement.
I can definitely see the patterns that Annie is doing here. So, for example, if you're building a community, you keep listening to people, you keep listening to feedbacks and improve it. I think that's one of the biggest, strength that you and your team have.
Yeah, recently we wanted to do like a career coaching program to help people because I do one-on-one coaching. So my impact is limited to the one person I talk to. So we wanted to expand that. So I went back to my university and I did like a workshop with them about design thinking. But we also asked them about career, like what stage are they at in their Shukatsu job hunting journey? How confident they are? What are the plans? But what's like also stopping them? And at the end, we try to casually propose some of our solution. So it was like one-on-one coaching, group coaching, series of workshops. And in like Creaba's perspective, like we want to do like group work and like a series because we really believe in the power of community and open communication in a safe environment. So we were really hoping that people would say like, I want to do like a series of workshop with people so I can work together. Yeah. But only one person chose that option. Everyone wanted to do more like one-on-one mentoring and coaching. So we started to ask reason like why? Like from our perspective, we know that when you work together, more ideas come out. But why are people so closed when it comes to job hunting? So in the end, we like numbers don't lie, data don't lie, even though we don't like numbers, but that's what they said. So we decided to like pivot from that idea for now and start to ask questions like why are people choosing this certain answer over the other. And we realized that job hunting is a very personal journey, and some people like if they're confident in what they're doing, they know where they want to go, they're more vocal about it and they will proactively ask for help. But for those who like are still kind of lost and like a bit pressured from their peers or parents, it's a bit harder for them to be open about what help do they need, and sometimes they don't even know what do they need. So with that, like putting that one individual in like a community perspective will be really pressuring for that person to perform. So yeah, so the learning point was that just because you assume something is something doesn't mean that's what people really need. So going out and talk to people and really validate your assumptions.
That is very applicable to entrepreneurial world as well. I still remember there was a professor saying that one of the reasons why startups fail was because you thought that your product is cool, but are you sure that people need it? Like if you don't listen to people's feedback, or if you think that maybe the only thing that is needed for your business is your product, then probably you're wrong. You just really need to listen to like people's demand, what they actually need, for example. So that's why only 1% of all the startups out there are successful.
I would like to contradict myself if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
No, you cannot contradict yourself. How can you do this on a podcast?
Because for my undergrad thesis, I researched about branding equity and the relationship between producer and creators for Japanese app products. Because I thought that Japan is so creative. They have Kit Kat in 47 flavors. Probably they are getting a lot of user input and asking people what they want for the product, right? So I did my survey. In my mind, I was like, probably Japanese producer talks to their customer a lot, and vice versa, customers share feedback to the companies. But to my surprise, the user, the people I surveyed at least, they were very reluctant to engage to the companies. I was like, well, how is that possible? I didn't understand why. But at least from my research, the data explained that in Japan, there's this clear responsibility between people. Like producer's job is to produce the product and consumer's job is to consume the product. So if the consumer is too involved in the producing phase, it would put pressure on the consumer to be responsible with the product.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So however, of course, from talking to the actual like CEOs and producers, they realize that yes, it is our job to produce the goods, but we can't continue to improve and develop the products if there's no feedback. So the current challenge is like how, at least for Japan, how can you incorporate users' voice and feedback while still be confident about what you are producing is what the society needs.
Interesting, yeah. Is this a Japanese thing, or do you think worldwide this is?
Well, my research was in the context of Japanese mobile apps in Japan.
Okay.
So, well, I guess since you've been here long enough, you know, Japanese people are quite private. And like back to my Google Map example, but people don't really say good things about the restaurants on Google Map unless they're like really angry or like they have really strong comments. Then they will give feedback to the restaurant. Otherwise, it's very like, you did great. It was clean, nice service. Yeah.
4 stars.
3 stars.
3 stars, yeah.
Yes.
Everything was perfect. 3 stars.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying the episode so far, please remember to subscribe to our channel, Passion Project Japan.
We release our episodes once every 2 weeks, so you don't want to miss that out.
All these gold nuggets of wisdom straight to your YouTube feed every 2 weeks. So remember to subscribe. Yeah. So Annie, we want to do a little like brainstorm session. So you have so much experience with user feedback, and both of us were not from like that realm, that world. And we want to do it for PPJ, for Passion Project Japan, for our subscribers or listeners to kind of get more ideas of what they want from us, and what kind of content they want to consume. So how should we go about starting this, like, you know, survey or form? What are ideas we can think about?
So today we are here in like a set, in a very structured set. However, the conversation we have are super spontaneous and genuine. And I don't know if you have like a brand character, like personality for PPJ, but I think it's like very casual and very authentic. Since you post online, I don't think you have ever met your user. So, like how about take PPJ outside of the set and bringing it to the street, to the real world. So I know, like you can do like street interviews. Those are pretty popular these days. But the important thing is like go into the world, just sit there and start talking to people. And as people are like gonna be coming and they listen to you, you can actually do brainstorm sessions with the people who come and listen, get their feedback, and also I think like bring it out to the world and listening to the people might be the most effective way.
Yes, that's a very interesting idea, because I was thinking, how about we do this, like we do that in a public space, and then we have a random person coming to our podcast, being the guest, and then after the session he can give us feedbacks as hosts, as like the whole PPJ itself.
Yeah, so live feedback.
Yeah. Or like they have like those like hear me out tables. Where we just have a table and like one question and people can come and talk to you, and they can come and go as they please. Like very spontaneous ideas.
There's like I'm trying to remember. I think I saw this content creator, or not content creator, it's a company I think in Malaysia that did something. They call it like sip and spill. Yeah, so it's like two people, and then they just invite people to sit like in the middle, and then it's kind of like, it's like a half street interview, half podcasty style.
Maybe you can ask, share passion fruits with them while you ask. Very on brand.
Crunching the passion fruit. The passion fruit is so expensive.
Do they have it here?
They do, I'm sure, but it's expensive. Yeah. Okay, so kind of like bring the set out, and so that we get like the live feedback.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a.
Yeah, we can do it in many different like formats. For example, you remember you really like this chicken wing show on YouTube.
Yeah,
and people just
chicken shop date.
Yeah.
A million. No, I was sorry, not chicken wing show. Sorry. Yes, no. That's hot ones.
Yeah, hot ones.
Hot ones. Yeah.
So instead of the chicken, we can do the passion fruit, because it's very sour, right? So people can, like, if you eat the sourness of the fruit, and you spill out the honesty,
But I think it's really interesting. So, because when we think about user feedback, you think about that, we immediately, at least the first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, we got to do like a Google Forms, got to set up the list of questions, and we got to ask them. But I really like your suggestion, because it turns that user feedback, the format of doing that user feedback into content, which helps us both in terms of like sharpening our content, but also so that we get to publish stuff.
Into connection as well. And you start to have people who vouch for you, who understand what you do, and like they can become your like supporter as well. Like people who really like because before, like when I started my YouTube and my career coaching, like I didn't do any marketing. I just started talking to students, 2 free students every week. And eventually, students start talking to students about me. So they started to believe in what I do, and they want to support me in doing it as well. So you can start out by yourself, but you don't have to do this by yourself.
Yeah, suddenly you're turning a sort of stable interview into something very experimental. So it can be interesting for even the feedback submitter as well.
Yeah. I guess it's more engaged, right?
Yeah, it's more engaging.
But what if we want to target like people who are outside of Japan? Because there's I think we shared this with you as well. Quite a big number of our listeners or viewers, they are based outside of Japan, like from the US, from India. So how can we engage them in this user feedback session as well?
A few years during COVID, there was this app Clubhouse. That's got so popular.
Yeah, it was like a big thing.
And like CEOs were on there doing like their like radio show. There, people could just drop in and drop out wherever they want. So having something very spontaneous like that, like just like a live stream or like a Zoom meeting, but that's too structured. You want to put the structure away from it. So have something casual. Have a date. have a time and make it like welcoming for people to join.
Ooh, okay. Like a
Oh, like a Discord meetup.
Discord.
But now you have purpose to make the Discord.
確かにね. Yeah, I don't know. I think we've been bouncing back and forth also about whether we should make like PPJ,
A community.
Like how to do that as a community. Yeah, I don't know. I have some. I think like my previous experience, like doing like the Discord community and stuff like that, it's like a bit like makes me a bit like I'm a bit scared to do it. Like if I want to do it, I want to do it like properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not sure if people will be interested to join something like that. But if you are, leave a comment for us or DM us if you want a PPJ community.
Or just leave us a like. It's easier.
No, but because community needs to be engaged, right? I think the thing about community is like, and something that I noticed in the Creaba Discord also is like it's like conversation, right? Like it's so important to have like when someone joins and then like kind of introduce themselves, you're able to like put that connection like, hey, this person is interested in this as well. Like you're trying to connect people. Yeah. Sometimes some communities I've joined, it's like you go in and it's like silence, and there's a lot of people who are just there but just not contributing. I mean, I'm one of them as well most of the time, but sometimes it's a bit hard. Yeah.
Maintenance is hard. Like I'm also reluctant to put things out in the world if they're not sustainable, because I also care about not leaving like my footprint, but not like putting waste out into the world as well. And yeah, I think we start really small. We own like our purpose for the community is because we want to help people find their superpower, use creativity to create, but then finally like guide their career. So eventually we want people to understand themselves and find careers that their own career path. So we want to use the Discord channel to introduce them to first like our events and programs, but also second linking them with potential career options that they can take. So when people join our Discord, we ask them what's their hobbies, what's their interest, and based on we categorize our members into user archetype. And whenever we have like a program that caters towards like a specific audience, we can quickly filter them out and tag them into the specific programs. Or if we have any job opening or internship opening, we can quickly target them and get them right to where they need to be as well.
One way I realize on how to build a community as well is to, it sounds quite exclusive, but choose your member wisely. Yeah, because I was in this badminton club, right, and I realized that he only put like members who are active inside that group chat, and then he will be the announcer, and he would keep tagging people like, hey, please reply to my messages. So from there on, people start to reply to his messages, and now the group chat is really alive. So in that sense, he's trying to be mean by being a little bit exclusive in choosing the members. And I know a lot of communities are like that as well. Instead of like building your communities big, you're trying to build that quality for the community first.
Well, thank you so much, Annie. I really appreciate you coming here. In fact, we had a whole kind of section about like how to design your life based on your background as a designer. But I think this whole conversation was already like
designing.
But if you want a dedicated episode about that and you want Annie to come as a guest, please comment below, send us a DM, give this video a like. Yeah. So where can people find more of you or find more of Creaba?
Yes, we are Creaba.org on Instagram, LinkedIn, and our website as well, so you can find us there. And I'm Annie Huang Creates on YouTube, Instagram, so please give me a message. I love talking to people and feedback, so I'll be waiting.
Nice, yeah. We put all the links in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to us, Passion Project Japan, on YouTube, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and
on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, sorry. Yeah, and at Passion Project
JP.
Yeah, on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
So thank you so much once again, Annie. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, and we hope more PPJ Creaba collaboration
in the future.
Anyway, let's go. All right, thank you so much.
Bye.
Can you say bye to them?